And finally, back to our studio, where the Black Heritage stamp featuring PBS journalist Gwen Ifill, who passed away in 2016, was dedicated by 9 Network CEO Amy Shaw, St. Louis Postmaster Russell Touvenot, and KMOX's Carol Daniel, president of the Greater St. Louis Association of Black Journalists. It was a time for us to remember Gwen's career and legacy.
Good evening. I'm Gwen Ifill of the PBS NewsHour and Washington Week.
She was one of the most trusted journalists in America and a great friend. She loved St. Louis and St. Louis loved her. We spent our evenings with her on the PBS NewsHour and for lively discussions on Washington Week. Twice she moderated vice presidential debates, including 2008 at Washington University, and was in St. Louis for a national town hall meeting on President Obama's first 100 days. In 2011, she was in the 9 Network studios for a teacher town hall, kicking off our American Graduate Initiative to raise high school graduation rates.
You are unlawfully assembled.
And when the world was focused on St. Louis, it was Gwen Ifill who tackled the difficult issues in a troubling time for the nationally televised America After Ferguson.
The eruptions are about race, but not only about race. They are about justice, but not only justice. They periodically inflame a persistent bruise that refuses to heal, and certainly never will until we learn to talk to each other, not at each other.
Always prepared, always informed, always a pro. 3 years after her death, the U.S. Postal Service honored Gwen Ifill by putting her image on the 43rd stamp in the Black Heritage series.
I never had the pleasure of meeting Gwen, but as a Black woman in this industry, I watched her, and her presence always told me that I could, simply that I could, that I belonged in the room, that I was gifted. She never said these words to me, but I could see it in her, because we know, and those of you who knew her over the years knew that she was a mentor. She took great pride in mentoring young people. She took great pride, especially young women, especially African-American young women, of mentoring them and telling them that they could and showing them the way. And I knew that and I saw that in her performance.